Breann McGregor. First of all, I want to welcome my very good friends of mine, Twain, Shay, Notlim, and TJ. Thank you guys so much for participating in this project that I think will help out so many people. So the question that I would like to ask all of you is, how has COVID affected you in all aspects of your life? And whoever would like to start first.
COVID has affected us. How COVID has affected us. It's been some good and some bad. It's been some learning experiences. Like for example, in the beginning of it, it was quite scary and unknowing, and we thought it was going to last for maybe a few months or something. It won't last forever, even though we're still going through it. It had me and my wife with conversations that we haven't had with each other, but it's drawn us closer. It had us in having spats with one another when we're all at home together. No one can go to our either jobs, so we would talk more. So we get a lot more conversation in and out, because before the COVID, I was going here and there, she was going here and there. Everybody had something to do, like the auditioning and the work. So for her job being, supposed to be recession-proof, and my job is supposed to be recession-proof, for a minute, it had us wondering, like, what are we going to do? We did, like most Americans have done, go out and buy bulks of toilet paper, water. We were just unsure, even to the point where I thought to myself that I need to get more firearms because of how things are looking, because if we was in a third world country or something like that, I would definitely be the guy to say, all right, you get a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun, like Oprah. So it's like we need to make sure that we protect ourselves. So if worse comes to worse, I was the first one to think what we need to do. It also had us more prayerful. So we'd be in prayer a lot. And we still are, we always have been, but it was the unknowing of which way to turn and how one is gonna keep up with your credit card debt, or make sure that you don't have credit card debt, or just paying your bills on time. So, luckily, I went out and got a lot of things just before it happened. And as COVID started, when they shut everything down, things started happening. I was just kind of like, as the man of the house, concerned of how am I going to provide if things go really, really left.
I'd like to stop you there and ask you this question. There's something that I've noticed for men in general. Men have been always told that you have to be strong. You can't cry. Like, you need to be the tough. Has that affected you in the sense that, during uncertain times such as COVID, and with your job, I'm sure a lot of things prevented you from being able to continue the financial lifestyle that you were living? Was that an extra burden on top of everything going on for you as the man of the house? Like, hey, look, I'm the man. I'm going to take care of my family. This is survival of the fittest here. But I just would like to know, has there ever been a point where you're just like, this is not something that all men should carry? Like, I feel that this should be something that is a mutual thing between my wife and I. Like, we both, it's like a 50-50 thing, whereas it's not always put onto the man to have to be the strong one all the time, because when you are the strong one all the time, and I found this from Parash, he's like, sometimes I'm hurting, but I can't share that with you. And that beats me down, and it just adds on to my own stress. And I know that you have always taken care of your family. You are always looking out for them. And I just would like to know if COVID amplified that for you.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I always feel like I have to be the one. Like, even a lion walks around with a thorn in his paw, and he doesn't express it to the whole kingdom. But there was some parts of that was really like hurtful. And then the only thing that I could really do is express to my wife that this is how our plans. So it's sort of like crying out instead of without the tears, because you just don't know what to do. You start thinking, okay, am I going to have to do something in a criminal act? And then you watch lots of movies, and so it put a lot on us. There were certain movies we was trying to watch, to get past it, because I don't really think mentally it affected the kids as much as it did with me and my wife. But for me, it was like, I'm already trying to hold it down and do all I got to do. Right. And I got goals. But then when this happened, it's just suddenly stops everything, like everything's to a halt. So yeah, it was no shedding of a tear, but more like a shedding conversation with the wife, and we're talking about how to react and be, proactive with this whole thing. So
it looks like that has helped you. Like you just mentioned before, it's allowed you guys to communicate more, which now I'm sure really helps you to be able to say, hey, Shay, this is how I'm feeling right now. I just want to give you a heads up, because I know that Harash before this would usually keep things to himself so that it wouldn't stress me out. And during this time, I'm like, hey, like, if you need to talk to me, open up. Don't feel like you have to carry this alone. Like, we're all going through this. And I don't want you to ever feel that you're the one solely responsible for this, though I know that is, the man's pride or whatnot. And I admire you for the way you are with your family. And I think it's wonderful. And I love that you're in the survival mode of like, hey, we're going to do whatever we have to do. We're going to take action. We're going to get ourselves educated. I don't know what's going on, but we will be prepared. And I think that that's very important, because a lot of people, that fear that is instilled in them, they end up just becoming frozen and not doing anything. Whereas for you, it's like, there is no not do something. We've got to do it now, because you have to take action. And I think that's, I'm proud of you for that. I am.
Thank you.
I'd like to also ask you, how has this affected your work as far as with your acting and also with your barbershop? I know that you do. Were you able to continue doing it since you are not within a salon and that you're mobile and you're able to go to your clients, or were you able to keep that open?
In the beginning, the phone calls were just ringing off the hook, but the governor and the mayor also said that we're going to reward people who snitch on barbers or S&P artists who are working and not supposed to be working. So, wow. But there was sort of like an exemption for me because I'm a mobile barber, and so some of the officials, and I have a mobile unit. I'm not just like, oh, barber with clippers in the backpack. I'm
no, it's this luxurious experience. I mean,
it's called Luxury Mobile Barbershop. So I provide an experience where I go to your home or your office, and you'll come outside into the mobile unit and you'll get your barbering experience. So it'll be on a luxury level. So, it was a lot of people were very defiant here in California when the order first came out for us to stop working. They were calling me anyway, and I thought some of them were setups. Then I discovered that I'm able to go and make these house calls. So the phone was ringing. Shay used to go with me when I would make these house calls. One, because she was like, okay,
I wasn't working. So.
She wasn't working, and so it was like, she was like, okay, let me see who's calling you. Let me just go with you. So it'd be kind of like an adventure, like kind of get your mind off of things, because
I think that's
we would go out and leave out in the morning, and she'd be like the rider. She'll clean up the place. So she's a worker. So she'll clean the place up, and then we'll go to the next location. So going to about 4 places a day was cool. Us having lunch with each other helped us to kind of like get back to things that we used to do and understand that we need to be the best us for each other. So it's like, it was good. So it slowed down a little bit, but even with both of my gigs, like with my other gig S&P Mobile, that increased as well. So a lot of people wanted the scalp micropigmentation. So I'm still doing that. And then with the acne, it shut down. The acne shut down completely. So that was like, we had big plans with that. You know,
so the work that you were able to get before, because I know that when, from the little that I know, when you get the work that you got prior COVID, was some of it supposed to be within the months when COVID started, those projects?
Oh yeah. It was actually 2 commercials that I booked, one with my son, one with my daughter. So we booked these commercials and we had expectations of, oh, that's going to be a good little run, you know, and it's going to be great. But COVID shut it all down. So when we was thinking that, oh, the commercial's going to start in April, COVID started in March, and it was like, we got this letter saying, well, due to COVID-19, we're going a different direction, so we're not going to air this commercial. So it was kind of like, it was a draft. It was like, oh man, you know.
So many things hit at one time.
Yeah, I was thinking.
COVID came
yeah.
It just put
only good thing about, well, not only good thing, but I know a lot of people, a lot of couples, some all of a sudden they were getting pregnant. So we was making sure that we didn't do that, because I got to just turn around and look at these two. It's like, nah, we had enough. So that's what we had to do.
Right.
So it was like, nah, you know. So
so
shout out to the pull-out gang. I'm embarrassing them right now. That's what I've been doing. I'm embarrassing the kids. But yeah, just looking at them two, like, we're good.
I love it. I love it. It is. I think what I love is that you never put all your eggs in one basket, which is, I think, do you think that's helped you a lot in the fact that you? Oh yeah,
to have multiple streams. Yeah, that, you know, you just can't have one hustle. Mm-hmm. I feel for the people who only have one hustle. It's like, that's all you know how to do. So, you know, I'm doing a lot over here, but I don't get credit for it. Shout out. I don't get no credit.
He does a wonderful job.
But yeah, the hustle. Yeah, it's like, you know, and now things are starting to stay a little, it's not steady, but
what phase are you guys in? Do you know? Are y'all in phase 2?
Or for my 2 businesses, we're in phase 2.
Yeah, they're still stuck. He's still with the scalp micropigmentation. He still cannot operate.
Are you serious?
They're still stuck in 2. I was able to reopen back in May. I was able to go back to work. So my phase is still going.
Your phase is still going. You know what I find interesting is the sense that with what you do and then the sculpt, I don't see how much of a difference there is in the sense that you're just about as close proximity.
It's the same. Yeah. I'm just going to say, I mean, yeah, it has slowed a lot of people down.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Well, his medium is considered aesthetics or cosmetic, whereas I'm in healthcare. Because
so it's
like you said, I don't see the difference, because like for my patients, they're taking off their mask. For his clients, they're keeping on their mask.
Right, and you're also keeping on your mask. So at the end of the day, you guys are both. Right. So you're considered an essential worker, correct, Shay?
Yes.
Okay, so I wonder how they factor that in when deciding this, in the sense that even
the cosmetics and the healthcare, that's it.
Mm-hmm. But here's something interesting when you say how they. Let's just say you watch television and you say, oh, look at the news. Oh, they look like they got a haircut. Oh, they got their makeup. Who do you think is doing that?
Well, the 1%, right?
Well, no, it's not about that. What I'm saying is, for them to say we're shutting down the barbering, we're shutting down the cosmetic tattooing and body art practicing, we're shutting it down. But then you look up and you see every person who's talking about we're shutting it down, they have a fresh haircut. So you got to ask yourself, who's cutting their hair?
Yeah, I do think that this is a very controlled thing going on right now that people need to really open up their eyes. it's becoming divided very much, in the sense that we are being put into our own, like, we're going to be put into place, and there's just going to be no middle anymore. And so I do think that this has a lot to do with controlling the masses. So yeah, they're going to tell us, hey, look, you can't do this, you can't do this. And like you said, it's kind of contradictory, because how, why aren't your roots showing it? And why are, you looking all fresh and stuff? And, I know that did not, that is, cosmetics is obviously taking place. I think money will override COVID. Let's just say that, or health concerns, if you want to put it that way. I mean, I think that I do think that, in the sense of, I think the line of work that you do, Twain, is very important for people's self-esteem. I think that being able to keep up with yourself, because that's about the only thing for myself, since I'm not around my own things in my home, that I have control over. And so not being able to do things that make me feel good about myself takes a toll on me mentally as well, along with all the other restrictions that are placed upon us. And then being where I'm at in Florida, it's not as strict as out in LA, where if you're not wearing your mask, you will be,
fine.
Exactly. Here, they don't care. Go question them. So for myself, I decide that it's best that I stay inside, because I'm not going to subject myself to people who are selfish. But at the end of the day, I'm paying the price for all these other people's actions, but I can't do the simple things that mean a lot to me, which is doing my hair and, getting my nails done, or seeing a masseuse, or having a facial. Those are important things that really do help you mentally. And I think that you should be considered an essential worker. And I think everyone in that, the line of work, is, in my opinion, essential, because mentally you help us, all of us. I mean, when we walk out of there, when you get your hair done, it's like you walk out feeling fresh, and you're like, woo, checking yourself. I mean, I know that I am. So
it's very much a part of your dignity.
Yes.
You can feel like you can conquer a lot when you're groomed and you're feeling beautiful.
Self-esteem.
Yeah, your self-esteem is
and I would consider that mental, like, that for me is health. They're always saying self-care. Wouldn't you say that falls in with self-care, with the scalp that you're doing? There's men that I think would love to take the time that they can't take off to get this done. They could be utilizing this time right now to get this done. I think that there's a lot of things that people could, there's so much time for us to reflect, like self-reflect, or just do whatever we need to do, so that when things start rolling again, you're on track. And I think that for someone, let's just say an operation or something that would take time to heal, then you have to take off from work. Why not? I would consider that under the health of mental state. And, LA likes to preach about self-care and all that. However, I do feel that there's a lot of contradictory around that subject that I don't agree with personally. So I do find you an essential worker, and but I want to say that I'm proud of you, and I admire that you are a hustler, because I believe that is something I want to implement into my own life. I think that you're born with it. It's a gift, it's a quality, and it can be learned, but it's, you're good at it. You're just really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
we agree.
Shay, if there's, so I definitely want to come back and talk to all of you. So Shay, I would like to know, how has COVID affected you, and whatever you are comfortable with and sharing as far as personally with your relationship, how are your feelings about COVID in general?
So I have a whole, my thought of COVID goes from 0 to 100. It's like all over the place, emotionally, socially, mentally, physically. But I'm going to try to cut it short, because everyone knows that I'm becoming more long-winded than my husband.
She put a dart. She just threw a dart at me.
No, that's true. He's a very social guy and very, well-rounded, so he has a lot to say. But
Cleaned it up. She tried to clean it up.
no, it's a good quality.
Just dig deeper.
Yeah. So we've been married for 21 years, and that's what I was going to say at the start of this. Prior to COVID, I guess Twain and I had actually gone into couples therapy prior to this. And we had been in therapy, I would say 6 or 7 months prior to this. And so we actually weren't at a great place when COVID hit. And being at home did kind of amplify the tension and work on our patience. It actually helped us because all of the distractions had been removed, and it gave us a chance to work. And actually being in the house with the kids too was a help, because these kids are very, very bright, and that's the beautiful thing about kids, period. They come from
resilient, as well.
Yeah, they're resilient. They come from a place of love. They come from a place of forgiveness. And I don't know how we lose that as adults, but we do. And so, to have children, it can really be a blessing if you're mindful of how you raise them, and if you let them be themselves, and just they're like a piece of pottery on a wheel. You just kind of shape it. If it falls off a bit, you really, really don't have to touch it too much.
You just, if anything, you're giving them the tools and that they will need in this life to navigate life themselves. And with that, you are loving them and educating them, and so that they can go off and create
them.
Right. And I think that's, I like the word of what you said as mindful. And I think that is something that a lot of parents don't give the credit for their children. It's but you guys have been very open with allowing your children to express themselves, but also making sure that they stay grounded. And I think they're both very mature, but for their age, but also enjoying their age. And a lot of kids, it's either they didn't get to experience childhood, or they were smothered. And I think that there's a balance. Right. And I think that's
very good. Yeah, I totally agree. There's just a balance in how we exist, period. If we really look at it. COVID has given us all a chance to really sit and evaluate. If we can just sit in it and just let it happen, it's really good for everybody to just stay here and be in it. No one should really be giving up and taking their lives. This is like a second chance for everybody. No one should be divorcing, sometimes, some cases, yeah. But like for us, it gave us a chance to work through our stuff without being distracted, and allowing us to be more patient and really listen to each other. Communication,
I think,
is very key.
For you guys, it was really stressful in Twain because you're managing your own children, you've got your jobs, and then you've got your work that's demanding, and all of that together. And then your children have their own lives, their work that they're doing. And without COVID happening, it's to try to find that time is really hard. 20 minutes, 15 minutes, it's hard because you have so much you want to say and you have such little time to say it. And you feel what you need to say is important and it's valid. And what he needs to say is important and it's valid. But within that 20 minutes, it's so hard to just be able to say, to make it concise, and therefore COVID has really, if you have used this platform, what that COVID, like you said, has given us a second chance. it truly has saved you in the sense that for you guys to work it out, and because now we do have to sit in what we have created and the beds that we have made. You now need to deal with it, and dealing with it is what therapy is about. Dealing with, sitting with that emotion, validating that emotion, going through the emotion, and then letting it go so that you can move on.
Some people don't like the honest truth, but I give it. And so I like to set people free and tell them what really needs to go down. So I wouldn't have it no other way. So here's the deal. When you're trying to get your man's attention and he's like closed off, don't want to talk, here's what, it might sound crazy, but it's going to be real. Just walk in the room buck naked, you'll get his attention. Then start talking to him. He going to listen to every goddamn thing you want to say. Just trust me. This goes back to the advice that I give all of my clients, my new clients that's coming in from a wedding. You gotta stay with the 3 C's. So whoever's listening, here come the 3 C's. My kids know who I am. First thing you gotta do, and these are things you gotta keep up with a marriage, because they say these things to me this way. They say, "What'd you say, boy?" They say this. They say, "Twain, how do you stay married for 21 years?" And I say, well, you got to do the 3 C's. 1, communication. So important. It's how you communicate. I learned that when I start talking to my wife and the world beats me up and I come home, I might talk to her crazy and she got to take it. And then I have to apologize, which I don't never like to apologize. I'm like, you don't like to apologize, just don't talk crazy to her. So cool. It's the way she talked to me. We need to communicate. If something you don't like, something you like, communication is the key.
Okay, so communication.
You want to hit 3 C's. Walk in that buck naked and communicate to him. Whatever you want to say, be buck naked. Just keeping it real.
Okay, so communication.
This is with married people. Married people.
Yeah.
Okay.
First, communication. The other thing is, the number 2 is compromising. You gotta compromise. It's like she say, hey, let's watch CNN. I want to see the debates. I'm sitting there like, I want to see this. But let me compromise. And then when she does it back and forth, it's got to be the same way, back and forth. Mm-hmm. Compromising, compromise. The third one is some people might find it the most important. The third one, because I said 1 was communication, 2 is compromising, and number 3 is coming. Y'all gotta have sex.
I knew that was coming. I knew it.
You didn't think, oh, I'm gonna keep it 100. You gotta be coming. Y'all gotta be back and forth, having great sex. When you're mad at each other, have sex. When you're happy, have sex. When the kids is in the other room, they gone, have sex. Have as much sex as you can, because guess what? It's going to release all this and all that you was mad about that person, but oh yeah, well, you drunk all the milk. Why'd you leave your hair on the ground and your underwear's over here and your bar's here? Why don't you close brown? All this little bickering stuff, you'll say, you know what? It wasn't all that bad. Because you got to think like, oh, I had a release. I'm feeling much better. And then the man and the woman, you know they do? They talk to each other more softly. You're like, you know what? If we just go ahead and get this
I don't want to embarrass you guys, but it's just, if they come, then it's like, I'm tired now. So what do I, you
got to get your medicine in. It's daily.
I think for men, it does take the edge off to get them to like focus. Like,
all right. The 3 C's, guys, that is
3 C's.
Communication, compromise, and come.
Coming. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Had to happen. Sorry.
I want your truth. You know,
there it is.
What I'm asking for. I don't want to. I'm asking you to show up and be you. I don't want you to be anyone you're not. So I appreciate it.
I ain't finna be nobody I ain't. She don't know. I ain't had nothing to drink.